Another surprise move. The government tightens the cash cleanup norms. It shuts the exchange window for both 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. The old 500 rupee notes can, however, be used for exempted services like petrol pumps, government hospitals, and for paying municipal taxes.
एक महीने पहले हमको यहाँ के टिकट बुक हो गए थे, हम इंदौर से आए हैं। अब यहाँ पे नोट नहीं ले रहे हैं पुराने, अब हमको छुट्टे भी दे नहीं रहे कोई 2000 के।
Despite stern warnings from the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, private hospitals in Mumbai continue to turn away patients who have the old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. And in the national capital, traders are selling tomatoes at 10 rupees a kilo in a bid to offload stock as demonetization continues to cripple trade in several parts of India a fortnight after it was announced. Odd and even could be rolled out in Mumbai. Civic officials confirmed to Magic Bricks now that Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has asked to look at a pilot plan of how to implement the odd and even formula in Mumbai to bring down pollution. This is the Urban Debate 360. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's get straight to our story. The government suspends over-the-counter exchange of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes from the 25th of November, Friday. However, the exemption to use old 500 rupee notes will stay till the 15th of December. Mobile recharges have now been capped at 500 rupees, and starting tomorrow, you will only be allowed to purchase up to 5,000 rupees in cooperative stores. Amita Balachandra brings his details. Amita, obviously, there were a lot of citizens who thought, let me wait until the lines thin out a little bit and then I'll go exchange my money. A big surprise for them coming in this evening.
In yet another surprise move by the Modi government, the central government has now decided that there will be no over-the-counter exchange starting the 25th of November. What this essentially means is that the old defunct 500 and 1,000 rupee notes cannot be used to exchange within banks. So you as a customer will only have to deposit all of the old currency that you have starting the 25th of November. What we understand from the Finance Ministry, of course, is that this has been done because of two things. One, of course, is that over the last couple of days, they've seen a declining trend of the number of people who are coming into exchange. Second, of course, is also to encourage people who do not have bank accounts to open bank accounts. Another surprising move, of course, was to ban 1,000 rupee notes completely for all of the exemptions that were there till 24th of November. That will now be extended to the 15th of December. However, these exemptions can only be availed with the old 500 rupee note. 1,000 rupee note is completely banned. But the big announcement, of course, was that over-the-counter exchange will now be completely stopped from the 25th of November.
Well, staying with the demonetization story in Mumbai, despite Chief Minister Fadnavis' order on Wednesday, private hospitals are still refusing to treat patients who come in with old notes. Viewers might note that the government may have completely banned 1,000 rupee notes, but the old 500 rupee notes are still being accepted in exemptions until the 15th of December. We found that several reputed hospitals in Mumbai are turning away patients.
A day after Maharashtra CM ordered private hospitals to accept defunct 500 rupee and 1,000 rupee notes, we actually found out was that several patients have been complaining, saying old notes have not been accepted and the hospital is demanding them to furnish only new notes and only then will treatment be.
हमारे पिताजी 4 तारीख से एडमिट हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे फाइनल बिलिंग करने के लिए मैं आया, लेकिन लोग बिल लेने से इनकार कर रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं कि आप बैंक में जमा कराइए और इतनी लाइन है मैडम कि मैं वहाँ लाइन लगाने में व्यस्त रह जाऊँगा तो यहाँ पिताजी की देखभाल कौन करेगा।
पुनः नोट नहीं चलेगा, आपको नया ही देना पड़ेगा या कार्ड सिस्टम से करें।
एक महीने पहले हमको यहाँ के टिकट बुक हो गए थे, हम इंदौर से आए हैं। अब यहाँ पे नोट नहीं ले रहे हैं पुराने, अब हमको छुट्टे भी दे नहीं रहे कोई 2000 के।
ट्रीटमेंट शुरू हो चुका है।
ट्रीटमेंट जांच के लिए आए हम, जांच वाले ले ही नहीं रहे, अब हम खुले कहाँ से लाए।
कल से क्या करने का, अभी हम जसलोक हॉस्पिटल में गए थे उधर भी कैश मांगता है ऐसा बोल रहे थे। तो इतना कैश तो पॉसिबल नहीं ना।
अगर पेशेंट को इमरजेंसी है तो मेडिसिन देने को रेडी है, उनको आईडी के साथ दे रहे हैं और अभी तक सबको दिया ही है, किसी को मना नहीं किया। कोई भी इमरजेंसी पेशेंट आया है तो उनको आईडी नहीं भी रहा तो हमने मेडिसिन को दिया है, मना नहीं किया किसी को।
अभी तक ले रहे हैं हम लोग 500,000 का नोट ले रहे हैं। अभी कल से बंद हो रहा है तो वैलिडिटी बढ़ जाए तो ले लेंगे, या तो बिजनेस में तकलीफ बनने वाला है।
The government has suspended the over-the-counter exchange of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes from the 25th of November. That means midnight tonight, that's Friday. However, the exemption use of old 500 rupee notes will stay until December 15th.
Today, Mr. Manmohan Singh has said that the RBI has lost all credibility because every day there is a new rule coming in, new change, everything. So this shows that the present government does not care about our farmers, the rural population, the laborers, the various unorganized sector, which is 45% employing 80% of employment it's 45% of GDP, but 80% of employment. So it does not care about the unorganized sector because how are they going to do it if you don't have an account and you have cash? They've been going to the bank to exchange. You know, there are long queues and you couldn't exchange more than 2,500.
What was the reason behind nationalization of the banks? Was it not that each and every family members or the rural India should have a bank account? Why in so many years Indira Gandhi failed to do such kind of bank?
No, but okay, Niranjan Shetty, let's we are not talking about that. Answer this question.
Jandan Yojana who tried to open so many numbers of accounts.
रिएक्शन तो रास्ते पे दिख रही है, हम लोग देख रहे हैं, रास्ते पे उसका रिएक्शन देख रहे हैं। अभी तो मारामारी हो जाएगी। एक तो शादी है, कोई बीमार है, फार्मर है, भाजी वाला है, इनके बारे में सोचा ही नहीं है।
The trends are going on the national interest. You should not provoke the people by saying all this, but you must be specific.
Sir, then why don't you give free treatment, sir?
These are the problems.
Sir, why don't you give free treatment in national interest, sir? I'm welcome what you're saying. Nobody should instigate the citizens, but then, sir, why don't you go and give free treatment to the citizens of this country?
What you are talking? You are talking nonsense.
Sir, you were talking like this. Please don't get personal. No. It's practice what you preach. It's good to preach. But why don't the doctors give free treatment to people who don't have the money?
The implementation part, there has been many lapses on it. And since this is very defining moment, I think that first of all, we have to see that there is a black money in the country. And everyone, I think all of us, we as a common man, we want that there has to be some action for that. I think that, the government had to be more prepared about it. The implementation part, there have been lapses. I think government had to prepare themselves better. There's no doubt about it.
Once the 500 notes and 1,000 notes are out and not a legal tender anymore, none of the chief minister or the prime minister can say that you have to accept.
But why should he appeal for checks? Checks are already taken. There is no need for appeal. He says checks and drafts.
See, understand,
checks
it is the private
allowed.
hospital. It was the appeal for the private hospitals who were shooing away
but
the
checks are
patients.
already allowed.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so why should he appeal? Why should the chief minister appeal for something which is already allowed? So why are you diverting the topic? It is already allowed.
It is the wisdom of the private hospital.
The checks are not honored by the bank.
I'll tell you what.
Checks are already, Mr. Niranjan Shetty. Checks can be taken. He doesn't have to appeal.
Okay, one at a time. Niranjan Shetty, please finish your point and then I'll rebut it. Yeah.
See,
one second,
try to understand, these private hospitals could have accepted this 500 and 1,000 denomination notes and they could have deposited into the bank. I think the private hospitals are not taking that responsibility of such kind from the patient.
Well, in other news that's coming in, the government has extended the exemption on toll tax on highways until the 1st of December. Earlier, this exemption was going to expire on midnight, the 24th of November. So tolls will remain free until the 1st of December. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley once again reiterated that India is ready to be a less cash society.
In the last few years, there has been a huge expansion of e-wallets, there has been an expansion of debit cards and various other modes of transactions. There has also been a series of mobile apps which have come up which facilitate this payment. And in fact, when we look at the figures, we see that the change is already taking place, and the present exercise presents us with a great opportunity to catalyze that change at a greater speed. So we have emphasized to the banks that this is also a great business opportunity for them, because a lot more transactions are going to come into the banking system, and therefore on a mission mode they have to take it up with their existing customers and others, this exercise. Now for this, of course, all modes are required as far as the banks are concerned. There are about 14 lakh POS machines at the retail level which are currently in operation. Now this figure has to be expanded manyfold. Now these POS machines are currently not available or manufactured in India, they are all imported. Some large banks have a fair amount of stock of these lying, and they are trying, the banks have been told to acquire them from wherever. The banks have made some suggestion with regard to possible measures which can be taken because of economies of scale, as also the revenue structures, so that the costs can go down, so that the retailers are encouraged and incentivized to really use them. Additionally, with regard to their existing customers, both the methodologies, that is the debit cards and the prepaid cards, the e-wallets, as also the mobile apps, are going to be utilized by them. They are ready with their infrastructure. Some of the major banks have already had a lot of success. Contrary to this argument which is made within the political system that Indians are not well adapted to this mode, I think we in the political life of India have to accept that right under our nose the people are changing as far as their habits are concerned.
Well, on Thursday, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh took on the government. He condemned the rollout of the demonetization as a monumental mismanagement. He also raised the issue of the many deaths that have taken place due to demonetization. Listen to him and some of the opposition leaders as they question the government on the implementation of the plan.
In the process of demonetization, monumental mismanagement has been undertaken, about which today there is no two opinions in the country as a whole. Even those who say that this measure will do harm or will cause distress in the short run, but be in the interest of the country in the long run. Well, I am reminded of what John Keynes said once, in the long run, all of us are dead. And therefore, it is important to take note of the grievances of the people, the ordinary people who have suffered as a result.
Since it wasn't an ego battle, we offered some concrete suggestions. The first concrete suggestion we offered is, why don't you allow the old 500 rupee notes and the new 500 rupee notes to function parallelly for a longer period of time? That is our first concrete suggestion. As we said, this is not an ego battle. Number two, we said to print more small currency notes, to print more small currency notes. And that brings me to the point, sir, about secrecy. Now, this government has been saying we had to do all this because we had to keep it secret. Two questions to the government. If you had to keep it secret, what prevented you from printing for the last 1 year 100 rupee notes? No one would have suspected. You keep printing 100 rupee notes and no one would have suspected. Mr. Jaitley, you're squirming in your seat, maybe you're turning up your face, but why didn't you print more 100 rupee notes? Perhaps because even you didn't know that when this announcement was going to be made.
ये निर्णय श्रीमान बहुत घातक है। मैं तो कहूंगा ये निर्णय देश के हित में नहीं लिया गया, ये निर्णय उत्तर प्रदेश के चुनाव को देखते हुए लिया अगर उत्तर प्रदेश का चुनाव इतना इम्पोर्टेंट चुनाव हो जाएगा कि देश की 94% जनता को सड़क पे खड़ा कर दिया जाएगा। आज प्रधानमंत्री जी किसान किस स्थिति में है? आपने कल बयान दे दिया कि हमने कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स को इतना रुपया दे दिया। वित्त मंत्री जी आप बैठे हुए हैं।
Well, news just coming in on our sister channel that amendments of the tax law have been approved by the cabinet. Now it says that previously undisclosed deposits, which were then deposited in bank accounts post the 8th of November, will be taxed at 60%. Standing by is Gaurang Sinha of ET Now, who's broken that story. Gaurang Sinha, tell us exactly what the changes are in the tax law.
Well, it's an unprecedented change which we are actually seeing, which has just been cleared by the Union Cabinet. It's important to note, usually changes to the income tax only happen through the Union budget. They're not usually affected mid-year. But what we are essentially learning is that these changes have been brought in to tighten some norms and plug some loopholes, in fact, in the Income Tax Act to specifically deal with the undisclosed income, which has now, of course, come in through the demonetization program. Remember, over 6 lakh crore rupees of deposits have come in. Now, what we are hearing at this point is that there could be a new tax rate of 30%, and above that a penalty of 100% on the tax rate, which would amount to a total of 60% tax. That could be possibly the new tax rate which we could see coming in on the deposits, in fact, which have come in post the 8th of November. Now, it's interesting to note, of course, that going forward we will have to...
So I just want to clarify one thing. Gaurang, I just want to clarify one thing. This new tax rate will be for previously undisclosed money that was held in cash and then deposited in accounts. Now, most people have to declare, most businesses have to declare cash in hand. Now, if the cash deposited in your bank account doesn't match your declaration of cash in hand in your last income tax declaration, the difference will be taxed at this fresh rate of 60%, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. Yes, in fact what we're hearing is the undisclosed income. You know, you've got the question of underreporting and non-disclosure, and essentially what we're hearing, like you've pointed out, is that the difference between the reported and the unreported income, in fact, could be liable to be taxed at 60%. This would, of course, apply to people who bring in new deposits. They may not have paid the full amount of tax on it, or may have kept it at savings, and this would essentially be some sort of an incentive to have a lower tax rate as opposed to the 30% plus 200% tax rate, which is prevalent as far as large undisclosed and underreported deposits are concerned.
All right, Gaurang, many thanks for bringing us that story. This is a story that Gaurang is picking up from his sources, that the Cabinet has in fact cleared modifications to the IT Act. This is quite a sweeping modification. What it effectively means is that if cash was deposited in bank accounts that was not declared in the last income tax filing, that cash was now deposited after the 8th of November, the difference between what was declared and what was finally deposited will be taxed to almost 60%, and that is a massive amount of tax. That will, of course, make a huge difference to the tax collection that has been made to the government in terms of direct taxes. And this is a sweeping change. The amendments to the IT Act normally take a very long time to put through Cabinet, but this is something that will boost tax collections for the government and will also allow the government to clamp down on black money, which has been the main aim of everything that has happened since the 8th of November. There have been, of course, reports about the fact that there's a lot of cash now finding its way into bank accounts. There's cash finding its way into bank accounts of people who didn't have that cash up till now. So Jandan accounts, for example, there have been reports about the fact that Jandan accounts have received cash deposits which have been almost shocking in their numbers. We've also heard that there are people with cash now depositing it in the accounts of their employees, in their accounts of their friends and their family members. All of that will come into question if this deposit is now matched with your last IT filing. So basically, just to remind our viewers, every time you file your taxes, you have to declare all your assets in all your bank accounts, and then you have to declare cash in hand. What the government will now do, what the IT department will now do, is match that declaration with the actual amount that has been deposited in your bank account. Sameer Kanabar joins me right now. He's a tax expert. Sameer, thank you so much for joining us. This is what we are picking up. That the cabinet has approved a modification to the IT Act which allows the government to tax previously undisclosed deposits that have made their ways into bank accounts post the 8th of November. What is the implication of this sort of change in the IT Act?
So of course, I'm not aware what the government has announced, but as I hear you, your government seems to proposing to tax all deposits being made after November 8th, is it?
Yes, not all deposits, previously undisclosed deposits, Sameer.
Okay. So of course, there is this section 68 in the Income Tax Act, which is talking about disclosure of cash credit. And that section clearly says that if there are any undisclosed or unaccounted credits which you have not disclosed or accounted in your books, then you have to offer that to tax on a gross basis at 30%. And so was amendments in the Income Tax Act, and that brought in another section which I don't recollect vaguely, but it's around 115B, some such section, which was brought in to say that against this undisclosed income, you will not be allowed any deduction for expenses. So they fortified their position to say that if you have any cash credits, that will get taxed 30% on gross basis.
Sameer, is there a provision for individuals who are filing their tax returns to also declare the cash that they have in hand or the cash that they have at home?
No, thus far it is only people who are in business or profession have to sort of draw up their balance sheets and disclose what is the cash in hand. For salaried class or individuals, there has been no such requirement to make such disclosures.
Individuals in salaried class normally have to just declare all of their bank accounts, all of their assets and the valuation of all of those assets. So then in that case, it's going to be difficult for the government to tally what is undisclosed cash in the hands of the average middle class salaried people.
Yes, you're right. And probably it implies that this will lead to a larger scale of investigation or querying by the Income Tax Office. And obviously, I believe in their wisdom, they will do ABC analysis and they will first go with A category people where the amounts are significantly high. But yes, there will always be a challenge that whether such amounts always were declared and belong to the taxpayer or they were undisclosed. So that source would have to be sort of discussed if any such queries come in.
All right, Sameer Kanabar of EY, many thanks for joining us on the show. We're going to keep an eye on that story. Remember, it's source-based at this point. We will look for confirmations within the Finance Ministry and give you a confirmation on this channel as soon as we get it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with Magic Bricks now for more news and updates.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.